I've been promising to make this video for years now, so thank you for all of you who have stuck with me this long, and this is for you.
I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else.
Happy National Coming Out Day! For those of you who are not part of a sexual minority, you may believe that coming out is a one-time thing. Probably because you have been the recipient of one of those coming out moments. But on this side of the aisle, coming out is a lengthy process that begins with coming out to yourself. This is arguably the hardest stage of anyone's development in their own sexuality. Because even though I was raised by liberals who were non-religious, non-judgmental, and really I had no reason to stigmatize sexuality of any kind at all, it was still a difficult process for me to start recognizing the signs in myself. I trace back the first one to the day that I met my soon-to-be first girlfriend, because I was struck that day by how beautiful she was. And not that that in and of itself is a sign, because we can obviously see beauty in our own sex no matter what. But it was a few months later when she came out as lesbian to me. My other friends already knew. Thanks, guys. That my first reaction, first thing to pop into my head, was, ooh, she's available! Which was an odd reaction. And at the time, I recognized that it was a little bit strange, but figured it was just, you know, quirky old me. And I filed that away in the I don't know what to do with this information folder. And continued on. For the next 6 months or so, I basically followed this girl around with big puppy dog eyes and just could not take my eyes off her and wanted to be around her all the time. Really, without consciously realizing why. I was just really happy to be near her. And one of my friends finally pulled me aside and said, look, if you want me to hook you up with her, I will. And I immediately said yes, without even thinking about it, and before I realized it, I was in my first lesbian relationship. Months later, after I was pretty certain that this was the direction I was going, sexuality-wise, I decided to take the next step, coming out to my parents. I told my mother first, and I told her that I had a girlfriend and that I was at least bisexual, because at that point I wasn't sure how I felt about boys, but I was definitely sure how I felt about the girls. So I told her that I had a girlfriend, and her response was great. She told me that that was wonderful, we should go to the Pride Parade together, and she gave me a copy of the Lavender magazine, which is a gay magazine in the Twin Cities. And I really should have known, considering her arts background and her connections with theater, that she would be very supportive, but it still was more than I could have hoped for. I told my dad a few months later, and I guess because I'm an only child and I'm an only grandchild on that side, and because society tells you that dads aren't supposed to be okay with these kinds of things, that I assumed that my dad's reaction would be more negative. And I really should have known better. And Dad, I'm sorry. I know that when I tell you these things that you are baffled by why I would be nervous about telling you anything. And I shouldn't have. I know. So when I told my dad that I was a lesbian, now fully confident of my identity, I have to say that I was a little taken off guard by his response, which was essentially, yes! No unwanted pregnancies! That was followed by a very long speech about how I should keep myself open and I shouldn't limit myself, and if I connect with another human being, it shouldn't matter what their gender or sexuality or race or anything is. That I should not hold myself in by labels that I might place upon myself. And as long as I'm happy and go to college and live up to my potential, that there wouldn't be a problem. And really, at that point, once you've told everybody that's important to your life, there's nowhere else to go except coming out to everybody else you ever meet. Now, I'm not talking about running around and yelling from the hilltops. But you have to realize that everyone you meet expects you to be straight. They assume that you are straight, especially with me. Simply using phrases like, my girlfriend and I, or, talking about something that my girlfriend said, those are the kinds of things they count as coming out. And they can cause anything from full whiplash to my personal favorite, the try to look casual, like nothing really important was just said. But really, inside their head, they've begun the filing process of putting you into the lesbian friend category. And I've been out for many, many years, so it's normal for me. But even living here in San Francisco, there is still always a moment inside, just before you mention your girlfriend for the first time to a new person, where your heart flutters a little bit, and you feel a little flush, and your breath seems a little bit short. Society has trained us to associate coming out with potential danger, and not without reason. My coming out story is abnormal. I've never had a negative reaction from anyone I've ever come out to, and that's fantastic, but it's not normal. So all I ask is that you appreciate the next time someone comes out to you, how much trust that person is showing in you. So my question to you today is, what's your coming out story? So put those in the comment section below, or make a video response. Happy National Coming Out Day, everybody! I trace back the beginnings of what are you doing with your hands? What am I doing with my hands? This is not a dance number. Gotta record. Get back in the rhythm. Done.